Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your Master of Ceremonies, Tom Whistler.
Yeah. Welcome teams. My name's Tom Zwislak. I am your MC for the next 2 days. We want to welcome you here to the 2022, also the 6th annual Maryland Tech Invitational. We're so excited you're here. You guys excited to be here? Well, you should be. We have 40 teams. This is the largest MTI yet. We have 40 teams here. Oh my goodness, we've got an echo. That's okay. We're going to proceed for you guys. We good to go? We're good to go. All right, so we're going to have 40 teams, as I said. We're really excited for this opportunity, again, to play this season's challenge, Freight Frenzy, as presented by Raytheon Technologies. A special note, though, is a continuing legacy of the cool off-season event that includes 10 teams that also competed at the First Tech Challenge World Championship in Houston. A round of applause for those 10 teams that are here today. You guys really rocked it. That was an incredible first World Championship. You guys really took the lead and did a great job. So we want to welcome those teams here to Maryland to perform once again for all of you. And we got some great teams here too, including we have 38 of our veteran teams, and we also have 2 rookie teams. So big welcome for those rookie teams as well. So I'm going to see if I can get this right, but we have teams from Australia. We have a team from Australia. It's here from Australia. Three teams from Romania. Wow, you guys are really well represented. That's super exciting. And we have 2 teams from Israel as well. And here in the United States, we have teams from Washington, Oregon, 3 from California, Texas, Indiana, Iowa, Ohio, Florida, North Carolina, Virginia, New Jersey, New York, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and one more state. What could it be? This is the Maryland Tech Invitational after all. Welcome to all of our teams. We want to take a quick thank for our hosts, of course. So we have 2 hosts for this event that make this possible: Tech Action Foundation and Rockville Robotics Incorporated. And our regional support organizers, First Chesapeake, of course, and our host site, Johns Hopkins Applied Physical Laboratory. Thank you very much to our support organizations. And last but not least, let's of course thank our 2022 sponsors, Stanley Black & Decker and Go Builda. So this season, the First Forward presented by Qualcomm challenged first teams to look to the future of transportation, taking lessons from the past and evolving transportation modes into something better for the planet and its inhabitants. Remember, you are the drivers of tomorrow's breakthroughs, and this weekend we come together to celebrate you, your creativity, talents, smarts, energy, and skills, and especially your spirit. More than ever, with the continued challenges of the global supply chain, we must rethink the future of transportation and explore exciting new technologies. In the spirit and the theme of exploring new technologies, we are thrilled to be here at Johns Hopkins Applied Physical Labs, or APL. Many of us were treated yesterday to an amazing presentation highlighting the incredible technologies that contribute to the Europa Clipper mission and meet those people behind these innovative, one-of-a-kind technologies. Here to share more insight on APL and the initiatives that come out of this facility are Dr. Robert Braun, head of the Space Exploration Sector at the Johns Hopkins Applied Physical Laboratory as of March of this year. He's brand new to this facility too. Dr. Braun most recently served as Director for Planetary Science at the Jet Propulsion Lab. He has over 30 years of experience as a space systems engineer, technologist, and organizational leader. He is internationally known as an authority in the development of entry, descent, and landing systems. Among the vast educational endeavors and associations with University of Colorado, Georgia Institute of Technology, Caltech, Dr. Braun was also the very first NASA chief technologist in 2010-2011. He created and led the initial implementation of a spectrum of NASA technology programs designed to build the capabilities required for our nation's future space missions. This activity spanned all 10 NASA centers, industry, and academia, and fostered partnerships between NASA and other government agencies. Please give a warm welcome and a huge thank you to Dr. Braun.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good afternoon. Can you hear me okay in the back? Yeah. Great, great. Hey, it's just wonderful to be here with you today. I got here a few hours ago, and I've been walking around watching you practice.
It says physics on my sheet. What the hell's wrong with me?
Machines, they're just fantastic. I'm just really excited to be here with you today, and I know it's going to be a great competition. I'm looking forward to, frankly, I'm just looking forward to watching it and seeing how it comes out. You got some very impressive machines, robots, and, you know, I think anybody here could win. I just wanted to make a couple of opening comments for you. And some of it is I just want to talk a little bit about where I think we're headed as a world and how I got to be an engineer. So, first of all, thank you for being here today. If you're here today, you already know something that I didn't know when I was your age. And that's that the future of our world is dependent on leaders in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And clearly, you all get that, right? You wouldn't be here on a weekend otherwise. When I was a kid and I was your age, it was before FIRST Robotics. I didn't have this kind of activity. But I was extremely fortunate to have a father who was an electrical engineer, and he worked right here at the Applied Physics Laboratory. He worked here for 35 years. And the first engineers that I knew, the first engineers that I met, were all APL folks. They were people that he carpooled to work with, basically. And in their spare time, down in their shops, they all had shops in the basement of their houses, they would tinker. And they would build little electronic devices to help get cable before cable was prevalent in this area. Or they would build little computer devices. In my home, we had one of the first Apple computers on the block, for example. And because of their exploits, I was just drawn into that field. The other thing that happened to me when I was real young, I was about 11 or 12, the guy down the street, his name was Dick Freeman. He ended up being the chief engineer at the Goddard Space Flight Center, which is about 20 minutes from where we're sitting right now. And on one day, I'll tell you how old I am, in 1976, he took me to work and he sat me outside a glass window where on the other side of that glass window, there were engineers and scientists that had been working for a decade to land the first planetary lander on another planet. It was called Viking, and it landed on July 20th, 1976. And as a young kid, I sat outside that window and watched these engineers and scientists celebrate, as only engineers and scientists can. They were trying to high five, they kind of missed each other, but boy, you know, they were just jumping up and down. There was tears streaming down their faces. And, you know, they had worked for over a decade to land that mission on Mars. And I remember sitting there that day thinking, that's what I want to do. One day, that's what I'm going to do. And of course, life takes a lot of twists and turns, and it didn't happen, you know, straight off. I wasn't the best high school student. I'll just admit that up front. I applied to a whole bunch of colleges. I got rejected from most of them. But I did get into the Penn State University. And that changed my life because once I got into the engineering college at Penn State, I hit my stride. I loved it. I just ate it up. More and more computer science, more and more basic physics, more and more mathematics. They couldn't give me enough of that stuff. I loved it. And I started getting internships. I started working in the aerospace industry. And my very first job was with NASA after I graduated from Penn State. And guess what they had me working on? How to land things on Mars. And I worked on it, largely on my own for a while. And then one day a project came along where they needed those skills. They needed somebody who had thought about how to land on Mars. And I got involved in what's called the Mars Pathfinder mission, which landed a little rover, the first planetary rover, about the size of a baby. It was named the Sojourner rover, on July 4th, 1997. Nearly 20 years after I had watched others land the Viking landers on Mars, I was doing it myself. And it was just an unbelievable feeling. And I and that team of people, because it was a big, diverse team from around the country and around the world that worked on that mission. I went from landing the Sojourner rover to years later being involved in the landing of Spirit and Opportunity, to the Curiosity rover, which is still cruising the surface of Mars today. And then my most recent job before I came here to APL is I was the executive in charge of the teams that landed the Perseverance rover on Mars and flew the Ingenuity helicopter. And I'm sure in this room, you all have been tracking the exploits of Ingenuity. Those teams were amazing. Frankly, it was an honor just to be a part of those teams, to be associated with that work. Looking back on it now, I can't believe that I was involved in landing all 5 of the rovers that the U.S. has placed on the surface of Mars. It's just remarkable. And I never would have guessed that I would have had that opportunity. Those teams, by the way, are fantastic. And those people are my best friends. They're my colleagues. When they're not doing well, I'm not doing well. When I'm doing well, they're doing well. We share everything. We work together in so many ways, inside and outside work. And that's something else you're going to find. You should look around at your teammates here today. You should look around at the members of the other teams that are here today. Your paths are going to cross multiple times in your lives. There's going to be somebody that you meet here in this competition today, maybe on another team, maybe from another country. And you're going to go off to college, and that person is going to be sitting next to you in calculus or in physics. And you're going to be like, oh, I remember you. And it's going to be amazing. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. So take a moment. I know you're into the competition, and I know the competition gets everybody's juices going. It gets mine going just watching you, to be honest. But while you're competing, don't forget that these are people that you're going to be around in one way or another for the rest of your life. And boy, what a great life it's going to be. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics are the key to our world's future. And in the course of your lives, that is just going to accelerate. Whether we're talking about artificial intelligence, whether we're talking about materials that we can use to fly a spacecraft through the sun, or to keep humans safe below our own oceans and submarines for hundreds of days at a time, whether we're talking about clean energy or climate change, whether we're talking about a cure for cancer. All of those things will be done in your lifetime, and they will all be done because of people pursuing advances in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Some of those people could be in this room with you right now. Think about that. It's remarkable. So I don't want to take too much more of your time because I know we're all here to compete, and I can't wait to watch your exploits and watch how this goes. I do just want to say a couple of thank yous. First of all, thank you to each of the competitors and all of you that are here today that are supporting them. This is just a remarkable activity, and no great thing is done without a whole host of support. I know that from flying Ingenuity across Mars, or landing Perseverance, or Mars Pathfinder. In my case, it was my family that supported me. It was my colleagues. There were mentors. There were teachers. That's certainly true for you here today. And so thank you to all of those people that made that happen. I also want to just take a moment to thank Amber. Amber Dreisman is our tournament director. For the 6th year. Thank you for putting this whole event on. I know it takes a great deal of work. And most importantly, thank you for allowing the Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Lab to host this event. We really appreciate it. And one last thing for each of the competitors here today. Please remember this, maybe more than anything else. APL has a great internship program. Yeah, and if you want to talk about that with me here today, you're welcome to. But if you just put that in your brain, you can join us today, you can join us next year, but we need you too. We need you right here. And so please come back. We'll be happy to have you. Thank you all very much. I look forward to the competition.
Thank you, Dr. Braun. Those are great words and a great sharing of Dr. Braun. And remember, you're here to compete hard, but you're also here to make relationships and build those relationships that you will take forward in the world. So, talk to each other, make friendships. Again, those relationships. You never know somewhere down the road where you may cross paths again. So, it does take a lot of time and effort and resources to put one of these things together, especially the Maryland Tech Invitational. So we want to make sure that we introduce some of our key volunteers and introduce them to you, and we'll introduce a few more tomorrow as well. But first and foremost, we already talked about her. MTI Founding Director and Planning Committee Head, Amber Dreisman. Thanks once again to Amber. Amazing job. And speaking of volunteers, we pulled together a lot of volunteers, and that was the job of Rose Young, our volunteer coordinator, to bring us all together here today. Thank you very much, Rose. Our illustrious judge crew. You've met with the judges already. I'd like to thank Judge Advisor Pankaj Oberio. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, Oberio. And we're really happy to have Pankaj here today and all of our judges and have their time. They had a difficult task, but I know that they're looking at a huge competitive group of teams, and they're going to come out with really, really great tangible decisions based on your input. Head referee today, Jeff Kelbick. Where's Jeff? There's Jeff. You already met Jeff at the drivers' meeting. Jeff has been a head referee in FTC for how many years, Jeff? More than 10. There you go, more than 10. Did an amazing job. Jeff has been in the region, not only here in Maryland and Virginia as part of the Chesapeake, but also he's been up to Pennsylvania, done East Super Regionals, and also World Championships in the past. Our field manager and head FTA today, Ryan Wolfram. Ryan, there he is. There's Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. And many, many, many other volunteers. These are just the leads, and I also want to introduce today also Tyler Olds. He's with First Updates now, and he's doing an amazing job working within this production, but also making sure that this is all live cast and webcast back to your families, back at your homes. Mostly we want to thank you guys, the coaches and mentors and parents. You guys just did an amazing job because you are volunteering your time to feed the dreams and aspirations of your students. Whether those students are your own children or not, you have an incredible impact on their lives and through the FIRST program. So we just want to make sure that this endeavor that you've sent them on, the paths that you're sending them on, that they are getting the most out of it. And we know because of the passion that you have, not only for the FIRST program, but also for STEM and getting your kids involved not in STEM And also, the other things that are involved, not in only competing robots, but you got team building, you've got character building, you're doing marketing, you're doing programming, you're doing all this stuff in the background. So you coaches and mentors, I would like the students to give a big round of applause for their coaches, mentors, and parents. Once again, thank you for your generous time. So as you're aware, the Maryland Tech Invitational will be following the official rules for the Freight Frenzy Challenge. Along with this is the most important aspect of FIRST, the credo of gracious professionalism. You read about it in your team materials and how important gracious professionalism is to your total performance and total experience here at MTI. Team members are expected to demonstrate gracious professionalism at all times through their work within and beyond the team environment. Remember, GP is a way of doing things that encourages high-quality work, emphasizes the value of others, and respects individuals and the community. As always, all participants and volunteers are expected to demonstrate the values of gracious professionalism and cooperation throughout this event. So with that, a little bit of housekeeping. First of all, Jeff already explained it. Jeff, the referee, explained it. Teams will proceed down the outside aisles, to come down to the field. For field number 1, the Red Alliance will lead because they're going to come down here and go to their boxes first, and then the Blue Alliance, and then on the field number 2, the Blue Alliance will lead coming into their box and Red Alliance. And then all fields will exit to these aisles that are right in front of them, up the middle of the auditorium. And also another thing, we want to talk about water. There is no food allowed in this auditorium. There is, however, water. So you are allowed to bring bottles of water into the auditorium. But once again, no food, please. And also, you were issued match schedules before you arrived here. On that match schedule are specific times. Those times were reference only as a result of printing them out on the match schedule. They're reference only. Please, and you'll be cued for this too, but please pay attention to the actual matches being played on the field for your schedule and the expectations for your teams to be in queue or to be arriving at queue. So please be cognizant of what match we're on. The matches are all being displayed. We're in the pits, right? We have a pit display. We'll know what matches we're on. So please keep track of that individually as teams. And again, the queuers will help shepherd you through that as well.